Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, where it is beautiful and it's not quite sunny yet, but it's getting there. And it's Thursday, January 13th, 2022, and it looks like Bitcoin, we're beginning to see the etchings of a macro low being put in. And what we're going to do today is identify what would constitute a medium-term time frame reversal. And because everybody wants to know, right? Everybody wants to know, when is Bitcoin going back up to the moon? So let's jump into the price action charts real quick. And not only that, are we going to cover this morning, we're going to talk about some of the hottest altcoins in the market. That is the coins that are trending and will perhaps have the opportunity of trending for the next few weeks or months, especially if Bitcoin wants to continue on with a bounce. And the coins we're going to cover are Matic, Luna, Near, Phantom, Solana, Ethereum, Rose, Atom, and we'll check in on the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the dollar. And so jumping in, what's the most important thing we've been talking about? And that's the underlying market dynamics. And we want to take a look at a few things. First things first, the open interest right now, which you can see open interest is coming in at about $12 billion. And what we want to do is see this come down to about $10 billion for a macro low to be put in, kind of a reset. Typically when open interest is going up, price is going up, and that's what the purple line is the open interest, and the black line is the price of Bitcoin. And you can see they're, highly correlated. And I'm going to leave a link in the description for all these charts here, if you want to go back and check them. So that's open interest. That's the amount of positions being put on global open interest, around $12 billion. And again, it's come down from about $16 billion, about $13 billion at the high just over the past few weeks. Anyways, global leverage ratio, this is leverage is at 0.22. And you can see we're at an all-time high. It's down slightly from yesterday. It was at 0.23 yesterday. When leverage is very high, that shows there's a lot of leverage in the market, so a big volatile move is likely to income. And what we want to do is see a reset on the leverage as well as the macro low gets put in, and probably comes down to around 0.16, somewhere around that area. So again, the global leverage ratio, that's 0.22 right there, the purple line, and the price of Bitcoin. And you can see how these correlate in the background. What else we want to look at is funding rates. Funding rates, that's the cost to put futures contracts, positions on, essentially. And funding rates are currently negative, not 0.1%. And really, essentially, funding rates, when they're negative, you're going to get paid to hold the long positions, and it costs you to hold a short position, and vice versa. Typically, when rates are above not 0.1%, that's the first warning that might want to sell some Bitcoin. And you can see right here, we got up to, here's not 0.1%, right here. So anywhere near there was typically a good sell, but look at this point back here. Bitcoin was at $10,000, and it came all the way down to 9,500. And then we had this one right here. Funding rates were only at not 0.03%. That was, but for, I believe, the dump in, that would have been February 20, from 10,000 down to 5,000. Not bad. Then picking ourselves up. Anyways, right now you can play around again with this and see the price correlation. Typically, like in this area right here, when funding rates are negative, it's costing you to hold the long positions, right? So anywhere when it's red like this might be a good buying opportunity, right? So again, negative funding rates, it's costing you to hold long positions. Typically a signal, hey, it might be a good time to get long or let go of some of your short positions. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and, again, get a link to the description of all these underlying market dynamics, I'll include that in the link in the description below. And, again, why do we look at all these underlying market dynamics? This gives us an edge when using statistics, because that's what TA is, right? What is technical analysis? It's the use of indicators for the purpose of interpreting past price action and making inferences on future price action from where you can calculate the potential risk and reward for the purpose of making highly profitable trades, which will lead to success over time. So basically it's saying, hey, look, statistical probability, if you have the right setup and you've back tested it, you know the statistics are in your favor for the price to go up or the price to go down. That's what T is used for, and it can be used on, many different time frames. 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly. The higher the time frame, the more powerful the signal typically is. So jumping into Bitcoin, we got a lot to cover today. So I'm going to try and make it quick, and I'm going to just throw Bitcoin on the weekly and make it a little easier to see here. And Bitcoin on the weekly, and what we've been talking about for some time, and you can see a very similar relationship to what we saw back in the summer of, from May to June. And by the way, the fear and greed index coming in at a 21, still in the extremely fearful zone. And since we're talking about price correlated action, you can see when Bitcoin fell from 60,000 down to 30,000 in May last year, we hung out in the extremely fearful zone for about 2 months here. And what's happened so far? We had the major drawdown coming in November, or call it, it was right before Thanksgiving in that time zone. And then we've spent about 30 days in the extremely fearful zone, and I expect we could spend some more time down here before that low gets put in. But again, why do we use these underlying market dynamics? It gives us an edge, right? But price action trumps everything. And so I'll get back into the weekly and the higher time frames. Again, the higher term time frames are the more powerful signals. So, what I'm saying here is very similarly to when we were in an extremely fearful zone here. Bitcoin, put this big wick down, and as long as we didn't have a weekly closing below the first wick low, then basically you are the range wick low, right? Then you're good to go, and that's basically what we've been talking about. Very, very likely, Bitcoin comes down to the green 55, and we were considering this a major buying opportunity. Yeah, it came a little bit lower, but I would say if we can, as long as we don't get any opens and closures below the green 55, that's going to be a good thing. And we are going to be maintaining the weekly uptrend as long as there are no closers below the range wick low, which would be right here at coming in at about 40,000. And that's from backtesting and a lot of research. And so this could be a very, trappy situation, similar to what we saw back here, where we got that first closure below the green 55, and then boom, we pop back up. So if we can close back above the green 55 here somewhere today or this week, and then come back up here towards, 48,000, that's going to look very good for a bit of a bear trap. And most likely, yes, I do think we pop back up there over the next week or so. And then, we probably swipe the lows again, very similar here, right? We got the big wick down, we popped up, test the 9 exponential, test the 9 exponential, make new lows, pop back up, and then what happens? We rolled back over one more time, and then boom, it was off to the moon. So interestingly enough, these moves tend to get more powerful over time, but just curious, if we measure from this point to this point, and where would that point us up to? It's about 75,000. Just for kicks, I wanted to check that out. Okay. So yeah, very likely we've been saying a bit of a bounce here, and then we got to judge it from there. And and really what I want to do is kind of go back to the daily time frame to judge, okay, how would we declare this bear trap and party back on? And that would be any kind of a daily closure back above 52,000 coming in right here. And that would say, okay, and that would reverse the death cross. And a lot of time, this is called a death cross on the daily time frame when the green 55 crosses that purple 200. And a lot of times when you get a cross like this and you're far away from the cross, it comes back and tests the cross and then comes back down. And that's typically the buy or the sell in this case on the green 55. And you look for that continuation drive. So very, very important, this level here at 48 and then at 52,000. Got to be keeping an eye on that. So yeah, again, on the daily time frame, 52,000. What do we want to look at on a 4-hour? We did get this 4-hour closure back above 43,000. Call it 43,500 on CMEs. It was 43,700, and then we did get the test of that green 55. And what we do want to see is an open and a closure above that green 55, and that's going to look like continuation back to 45,750 at least, and that is the move I would expect. This was the breakout. That's the test of the 21, which is typically a buy, and then you get that move back onwards and upwards. What we don't want to see is Bitcoin come back down and close anywhere below 42,510, and then otherwise that's probably going to be that first warning sign of that next drive lower, back down at least to 40,755. But what else? Take a look at the hourly. How's the hourly doing? And so just to make this a little easier to see, because these time frames, they tend to just kind of mirror each other up, right? So the 1 hour does what it does, and then the 2 hour, and then the 4. And what you want to see is kind of just this rolling on upwards of all the indicators kind of moving in sequence together. And so you get the cross here of the yellow 21 and the green 55, and that's typically your first warning sign that a buy is in, and then you can, buy the dip on the 9 or the 21. Typically that's your first test is a buy, and then you get the move back up. And what happens is your volatility gets very high, somewhere around 90%, and that's typically your sell, and that would have been a pretty nice sell here. Actually, it would have been right in at about 70%, but that would have been your sell, and then now volatility is low, and what do we want to do? Trend, momentum, and volatility, right? So even on an hourly time frame, typically this green 55 is a buy for a nice bounce. And would we have any bullish divergence coming in from here? Yes, so that's 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence, and I would expect a bounce here at least back to the 21, if not to the range high, if Bitcoin wants to cooperate with us and continue onwards and upwards from here, and that's what we're all looking for. Come on, Mr. CME Spot Exchange. Let's keep it going here. All right. Now let's jump into the altcoins that, frankly, are just, really, really outperforming what Bitcoin and even Ethereum. But again, my recommendation with these altcoins: don't invest in them, especially if you don't have a trading plan. These can be very, very, very volatile and illiquid. And we're just going to look at these ones for fun today. Okay, so Ethereum, and for charting purposes, and just to take a look. First thing, again, testing the green 55 on the hourly, typically a buy. You're kind of testing that range as long as we don't get any 4-hour closures, hourly closures back below this guy right here at 3,078 bucks. I'm looking for this to continue with the next move up to here. Any kind of an hourly closure back above 3,458. And I'm going to look for the move to get hit back up somewhere around there. Anyways, that's on an hourly, but let's take a look at Ethereum on the daily, and it's been a bit of a laggard. So you can see Bitcoin now taking the reins and kind of leading the market. So on this bounce, let's see, what did Ethereum do here? Ethereum's up 12% on this bounce versus Bitcoin. It's probably very similar, in fact. Oh, let's try it again. So on this bounce, we've got up 12%. So dead even right now, but Bitcoin seems to be leading the way, and you know, looks like we're getting that test of that 21. We definitely don't want to see a rejection here. We want to see a bounce, a nice bounce. And what you're going to see is some, you know, big wicks. Probably, again, all the leverage in this market. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, some big wicks here before we get the next move. But again, Ethereum kind of going to do whatever Bitcoin does right now. And then I want to jump on to some of the more fun altcoins. So Matic here. Matic definitely showing some strength. On the 4-hour, we got the yellow 21 crossing the green 55. And typically the pullback on the green 55 is the buy. Right now we're testing the top side of the range, which is completely fine. And what would I say about Matic? You know, look at this thing on a daily, and we got some major bounces here, right? Again, we're typically expect the bounce off the green 55, kind of overshot that mark, and now regaining the green 55, right? Bear trap back above the yellow 21. That's bullish on the daily time frame, and I would expect this one to at least get back to the top side of the range, somewhere around 266 today. And then, you know, judging it on a 4-hour, any kind of a 4-hour closure back below 226. And I'm going to look for a move down to 210. But long term, you know, pulling this out on a weekly, I'm going to take some of this stuff off here. I'd say that's an uptrend, right? I would say that is a massive uptrend. And using these fibs, right? So if you go wick to wick on this move here, in volatile markets, you go wick to wick. Let's just see where the target is on this massive consolidation, because we did just get the closure above this guy right here, right? And you can see all these charts, these powerful charts, they tend to play out, you know, very similar type price action. But wow, yeah. So the target on this guy's at 422, and you know, again, we got validation on this thing with the closure here on the 5-day. Right, that's the breakout. Then you test the 21. Hopefully we don't get a test of the green 55. You can see there's not even very, you know, almost not enough price action to even populate a 55-day moving average on this time frame. But again, same thing on the weekly. Macro bullish. I am looking for long-term bullish, sideways and up over the next month or two on this one. There is no reason to be bearish as long as we are closing the dailies above $2, which, you know, call it $1.90, you know. As long as we're closing dailies above $1.90, I don't know how helpful that is, but I'm going to be bullish. Okay, next one. This is a really fun one, too. We talked about it, I think, yesterday, Mr. One Harmony. And we did say any kind of a daily closure back above this level here would be get some continuation. And what's that going to look like? Well, we can use our fib retracement tool here. And really, here's where I really get excited about this one with a daily closure back above this guy. And I think we get a shot to 45 cents. But I do believe we got a target in motion here of somewhere around this level. And where do I get that target? So let's measure it out from the bottom to the breakout level we were talking about yesterday. And that's the breakout right there. And what I would say is, yeah, this one can sell off the highs here. Very likely, probably does at least sell off the highs. And then comes back and puts in another higher low somewhere around here, right? And then gives a shot back above this guy, and with a daily or a weekly closure above there. Next target's at 45 cents. But yeah, I would say sideways and up, you know, I am going to be bullish on this guy as long as we are above this 21-day exponential on a daily basis. That's going to be looking good for long-term continuation. And yeah, so what else could we do with this chart to make it a little bit fun? On some targets. So we got the cross of the green 55. What does this look like on a weekly? So typically these moves, they just get more powerful over time, right? So from the low to the next high, if in a trending market, you want to see strength, right? So this move got you there. This move got you there. Actually, no, it got you all the way up to here, right? And so something to know as well is, you know, the first test of that green 55 is typically a buy in a trending market. And where would this point us up to? Just curious. Yeah, somewhere up that 2618, kind of our target already. Lines up pretty nice for a target somewhere between 47 and 49 cents. But let's say the move gets more powerful, right? Could get targets up to that. That's usually your max limit there at probably about 58 cents. But how else could we draw this out to get some targets here? So let's say we do a fib retracement on this weekly consolidation from this high to this low, from that high to this low, gives us an easy target somewhere around 52 cents. So I would say a daily closure around above 38. We get a move up to 53 cents and then a pullback from there, higher low, and long-term continuation somewhere up around 70 cents. And that would be on a weekly closing basis, and those kind of things happen over usually a few weeks or months. So we'll be keeping an eye on this one. And, you know, keep in mind, if Bitcoin gets totally slacked and goes back down to 20,000 or 30,000, yeah, it's going to be hard for this guy to perform. But if Bitcoin trades sideways and up for another month, you know, just slowly grinding out or trading sideways, I think something like this could benefit. Okay, moving on. So again, wrapping this one up on one, bullish as long as we're closing dailies above 30 cents. Another favorite tier of a lot of people out here, Mr. Solana. Been a bit of a laggard. On the weekly, you can still see this is higher lows on a weekly time frame because you want to have a clear stop and reverse point. So this, we never took out that high, so this is not actually a low in my definition. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But higher lows and higher highs. So what are we looking at on Solana? So on a 4-hour, we just got this cross in here. And I would say any kind of a 4-hour closure back above 154, going to get continuation to the 167 mark. Very likely bounces along with the rest of the market. What else on a daily time frame? Really, where do you call reversal on this guy? And I'm going to say daily back above 200. If you're a little more aggressive, daily back above 178, or just a breakout of this channel and probably gets us a move back to 233. This one can be rather strong and rather violent, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it put in a big bounce. But problem is with these channels, they can walk you down for a very, very long time. So when you're trading to the downside, vice versa, instead of this being a buy, right, it's a sell, right? Typically a, quick scalp, just as we're touching this 21 here, it's selling off for a quick scalp there. Okay. Getting back onto a few more coins here. What else did I want to cover? So, 4 hour. Yeah, I already covered this one. Solana. Next guy on the board. So yeah, daily above. Yeah, daily above 204, and I think this thing's going to get going. All right. Back on to Phantom. Mr. Phantom, where are you? This one, again, one of the best performers in the market, and I will go ahead and just touch on this guy a little bit, Mr. Phantom. And we did hit our $3 target from yesterday pretty quick here. And as we said, you're likely to sell off the high, right? And the question is, are we going to bust on through and keep on going higher? Are we going to break this level? So what would I be looking at constitute kind of a breakout of Phantom? And what do I want to look at here? Phantom. On the weekly, again, if you want to be more conservative, weekly closures are going to be more powerful and more strong of a signal. So any kind of a weekly closure back above 314, and I expect we test the high about 350. Technically, I think we're going to have higher lows on the daily time frame as long as we're closing dailies above, call it 270. We're going to be daily trend in motion and 4 hour. I just don't want to see a 4 hour closure back below 227. I mean, that's a lot of downside. So, really 4 hour back below this guy, you're going to get a move to 260. And really this is the breakout area. So we don't want to see any 4 hour closures back below 257. That would be a failure. Any kind of, a touch along that green 55 is likely going to be a major buying opportunity. Could be wrong. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but just showing you look, you bought the green 55 here. Not a bad move, right? What was that? What was that move right there? Let's measure that out. 54%. And very similarly, so why am I measuring this all out, right? How does this work? Why is this one so bullish? You can see these massive consolidations typically can etch out some pretty good moves. So, oops, I hit percentile. Makes it so much easier to see when you do that. Okay. So macro breakouts on the daily. Let's see. Look how far back this guy goes. Back when it was, 18 cents. Now we're at $3. Wish I could have got some back then. So the question is, what other coin? I mean, now this guy's like a general. It's not like an altcoin project. It is an altcoin. Never mind. I didn't say that. It's an altcoin. But back onto this guy, Mr. Phantom, any kind of a daily closure back above 313, quick move up to 340. And you might say, well, Chris, what is that? That is 8%. 8%. I don't know. Not bad for a day, maybe. But selling off the highs for now. Likely, I do see we pull back into some kind of a higher low around 270. But let's see, on the hourly, what are we doing here? And again, that 250, 270 region is completely fine. And that would almost look like double head and shoulders, but we could really start to break out. And what would constitute the breakout? Well, you got the 5-day coming in about 2 days, right? So in about 2 days, we're going to have a 5-day closure. Any kind of a 5-day closure back above 340, and I will be looking for a move up to about 470 over the next week or two, with continuation up to 680, and that would be a nice 100% gainer. And is that going to be the higher low right here? Probably not. That looks like continuation to me on the 5-day. Depends on how this thing plays out right now. But we do have 2 more days on this candlestick. And how's the 3-day looking? You know, grinding up against the highs, closing in 2 days and 9 hours. Is that continuation? We got some volume coming in. Either way, you know, I wouldn't be, I'd be totally fine with this one coming back down to about 225. We just don't want to see any daily closures back below. So daily above 315, looking to hit the 350 target, which you can probably just pull a fib real quick on the 12-hour. So, you know, wick high to wick low. And where does that get you? That gets you to 378 with any kind of a closure back above 313 on the 12-hour. With a higher low, probably gets put in around 275 again. So could we go like this with Mr. Phantom? Could we go like this? You know, get a 12-hour above here, shoot up here, and then come back down, and then push up onto our $480 target? I think so, but it all really gets confirmed above $3.40. Or actually, let's be more conservative. Well, we got our drawing tools out. Okay, so that's 350. So yep, selling off the highs right here. I'm just looking for higher lows at 270 and continuation up back to here, 350. Sell off again a little bit, and then boom, 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 boom. This one is on the move. Having a lot of fun with this one. Okay, next one actually is Mr. Rose. Mr. Rose, Oasis Network, another bomb that is just on a mission to Mars here. And again, when you see these big macro consolidations on a daily or even a weekly time frame like this, it becomes, remember, higher the time frame, the bigger the signal, right? So we're on a weekly time frame for Mr. Rose or Oasis Network, and we're getting a higher high, we got a higher low, and boom, right? Higher high, higher low, boom. This looks like continuation with a higher high, right? So where's our breakout target? So watch how these get hit, okay? Wick to wick. We get right up to the 2618, right? Sells off, comes back down to the 618. That's your buy right along the 9 exponential, okay? Then where is our next move, right? So let's adjust. That's your wick high to wick low right on that consolidation. So we're going to go here, boom, boom, and what do you know? Wick high to wick low, and it almost plays out perfectly that we get this test up to the 50-cent region, right? So as soon as we broke out here, typically you don't want to buy the breakout, right? You want to sell the breakout and then buy the 9. Sell the breakout, buy the 9. And always have your risk management in there and be aware of where your point of failures are. And for me in this case, so where's the next consolidation coming in here on a weekly basis? Wick high to wick low. And so would this be a week to sell, right? If we come up to the 2618, or sorry, the 1618, I would say probably going to run into some selling pressure, but then we head on up to the 86-cent mark over time. Macro bullish, higher highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame. Generally, you're going to see the move continue onwards and upwards, but back to measuring that wick high to that wick low. What did I want to point out? Yeah, so you can see this 2618 probably lines up with the 72-cent region. So let's just mark that off. 72 cents from that wick high to that wick low. Now we're going to measure from this wick high to this wick low. Here's what I like about kind of doing this is that it gives me an idea on where those next targets are. So off of that consolidation here to here, we are getting a target of 62 cents with a continuation to 84. And off of this wick to that wick, we're getting continuation to 70 cents. So could we land somewhere right in that pocket right now? Throw a wick in there. I think we probably have a decent chance. And where would that pocket be? Yeah, somewhere around here. And we can put a little blue box in here. And look for a target somewhere, a wick, deep into there. Let's see how the week closes in about 3 days in about 9 hours. And I think that's enough it for Rose. Okay, moving on here to Mr. Atom or Cosmos Network. Mr. Atom is, again, on kind of a mission to Mars, and you can see how do some of these things like to play out. So you get this move from that low to this low. We got a more powerful move here. So technically, if the move is getting more powerful, you'd expect a target equal or greater to this move. And that puts us up somewhere way deep in the $57 target range if that bounce wants to play out like a similar bounce. And then lastly, and these things only get confirmed again with a daily closure back above or a weekly back above 44 or 45 bucks. But while we have the weekly on here, let's see what the weekly target would be on the fib. Okay, from the wick to the wick. Yeah, and that gives us a target right up there to about 58 bucks. So any kind of a weekly or a day, I would say a daily. Again, what are these things likely to do? If you break the range, right? Let's say you hit 50 cents, probably sells off, and what? It wants to come back to the 9. It wants to come back just like it did all through this rally, right? Keep buying the 9. I guess that's the expression there. But okay, so where would I constitute a failure on this one? And that's any kind of a daily closure back below 33 cents, right? So this one I'm bullish on as long as we're above 33 cents on a daily closing basis. Could we get pullbacks? Could we get a wick down to the green 55 at 31? Yes, absolutely, completely fine, as long as we don't close the daily below 33 cents. Okay, back on to another project, Mr. Near Protocol. highly recommend you research any name that you invest in. These highly esteemed pieces of technology, you want to know what you're getting into. These highly risky assets. But anyways, what are we doing with near? Look how risky this one is. Look how risky that is. From, I don't know, what is that? 50 cents to 20 bucks. We did have one party down from $7 back down to $1. That would have been pretty horrific. But I do like this on a daily time frame. Higher highs, higher lows. Let's look at it on a 4-hour. And you got the 21 crossing the green 55. And what am I looking for on this one? We did get a break of that range on the 4-hour. So how would we do that? We go like this, right? Boom. So the wick high to the wick low gives us a target right up at about 20 bucks. And I would expect probably get some selling pressure in there. And then how does that look on a daily? And the daily range, okay, wick to wick, right? Daily range targets $20, call it 21 bucks, sells off from there, and then very likely we get continuation. So we sell off the 1618 with a buy here or a buy along this, you know, along the 9 or the 21. But typically we sell off from the 1618 and then you get continuation on to this guy right there. And funny how these moves work, right? Funny how there is symmetry and similarities between moves, but I just want to throw this on a weekly time frame or on a daily. Here's on a daily. Let's see on a 4-hour if it works like that. All right, I'm trying here, guys. It's been early. I need some coffee. I definitely need some coffee here. But what was I doing here? So let's go from the bottom to the top. If you're putting a higher low, so we got the cross here. And really, maybe we measure it from the cross to the next cross. Yeah, that's where I'm getting at. So you get the cross of all these moving average right here. That's a very bullish sign. You know, when they're all bunched up together right there, and then you get a big cross, you get the 9 above the 21 above the 55, and the 55 above the purple 200. Bullish, right? What did that result in? On a 4-hour time frame, this cross resulted in a 60% move. Okay? So what do we have here? Same cross. And what do we have here? Let's go from the cross, right? So the cross is right here. If you would have bought the cross to 60% higher, puts us at, 60% higher. Oh, this should be interesting. From the cross to the next high. What do you know? Almost 60% to the 2618. And what does that also line up with? A similar move. I think, am I cheating there? I think I'm cheating a little bit, but that would be if we have a smaller move. This thing is macro bullish. It is on fire right now. I don't see any reason why we'd get a smaller move. And in fact, if you look at this on the 2-day or a weekly, if you look at this on a weekly time frame, okay, where's the first move from this low to this high, right? Let's see how it goes. Here, wick to wick. Boom. Okay. And then we get wick to wick. So we got a more powerful move. You can see in a more powerful market, the next move is going to be more powerful, right? So the question is, do we still have gas in the tank? And was this the buy of a lifetime right here off the yellow 21? Yeah, that didn't measure out. But what I think is an easier way to do is go like this. We'll go from this wick to this wick. That was a 1,300% gainer. Okay. From this wick to this wick, 600% gainer. Okay, maybe it's losing steam here. And so far from this wick to where we're at now, that's 200%. So let's say we get half the move. That puts us up at a 300% gainer. Or yeah, that's right there at 2618. So yeah, that actually does line up with a little bit more of a tailing off view that in fact the move is getting weaker, which is typical. You can see Bitcoin's mega moves are getting weaker over time as more money, more capital comes into that market. The upside becomes less and less because it requires more and more capital. Hope that makes sense. So again, 60% gainer. No, 1,400% gainer, or 1,300%, I believe it was. 650. That's exactly half. So could we get exactly half at what's half of 650? 312, 320. Is that where it becomes game over? Well, I think that's a decent target on this one. For the said above reasons, and all this will only be validated again near stop at 28, continues to 24, but here's where in my opinion, again, and I'm not right all the time. I'm right. I'm wrong a lot of time, actually. In fact, definitely wrong a lot of times. But where does this get fun? On a daily closing basis. So very similarly, it just got fun. Why? Because we closed above that wick. That wick was the go time signal. Did we close above it? I mean, that's literally by a hair if it is above. Slightly. I mean, that is the most minute detail, but you know what they say. Sometimes it is the details. And you can see that's almost how close we are to making a weekly closing low or low on Bitcoin. But being that we busted on through with that closure and now continuation, where's the next stop? Where's the next stop here on Mr. Near protocol? And yeah, coming in at $20.50 and looks like continuation up to $25 over some time, over, maybe a week or two. But that is where the validation is. And yeah, so near, and then last one, a fun one. Believe it or not, this one, it's called Pro, P-R-O symbol, going to be listed on Coinbase here shortly. You cannot get it on Coinbase at the moment, but this one I didn't even pull up. Yeah, Proppy. So this is like a company. It's like Realtor.com or Zillow. You should check them out. Proppy.com. You can buy real estate on the blockchain. So they actually have homes for sale on their site. I don't know exactly how it works. I've never bought a home on their site, but I've been following them actually for years. I have a real estate background, and I've always been very, very excited about real estate on the blockchain. That is coming. That's very, very likely in the future. In fact, I have a friend, a mortgage guy. He does loans and says they're already training them on Bitcoin-backed mortgages, which makes a lot of sense, right? So Coinbase listing, just to give you an idea, I mean, I had to pay literally 25% to get this coin yesterday. And yeah, it's up already more than 25%, but yeah, so I think I put like 20 grand in there, and I got $13,000 worth of proppy. Okay. But, highly, highly risky. last time I paid such high slippage fees was when I bought Sandbox. And if anybody knows what Mr. Sandcoin did, which actually it's bouncing a bit too right now off our blue box territory. And, Sand, I remember slippage fees last year around, was it? Gosh, time is just going away from me. Oh yeah, so slippage fees, I think around, no, it had to have been back here, yeah. Slippage fees, somewhere around here, October, November, yeah, no, I think it was actually, might have been August, July, May. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around here. Slippage fees, and so, look, this one, on log scale, let's take off some of these averages and bring it down. Yeah, so 20 cents, right? So September, it probably gets listed on some exchange, who knows where, Binance. And slippage fees was just insane, just to buy like 25 grand worth of this stuff during this time. I believe, somewhere around this area, slippage fees was about 25%. So to get 25 grand worth of Sandcoin, you literally ended up with like $12,000 worth of Sandcoin. But if you do some basic math, if you got a little bit of Sandcoin and you made it through that storm, you made money hand over fist. Anyways, because even from here, went from 70 cents to $6. Not a bad move. Or sorry, to $8. So that's why it's good to just keep an eye on all the new technology coming out. The metaverse is hot. It's probably going to remain hot, although this, we did say, look, probably going to cool off, after doing something like this. You're going to consolidate for some time. Look how long this consolidation lasted from March of 21 to, and some would say this was the breakout right here, right? When, let's see, on a weekly closing basis. Just for fun, let's throw on those fib charts again. So consolidation, macro breakout here, probably buy the 9, right? Yep, macro breakout here, buy the 9 of the 21, okay. And this hit the max target, right? But it did give us a quick move to the 618, to the 1618, right? Sold off and then eventually came up to that 618. Yeah, so notice how these kind of interplay between each other. And then let's look at it on a monthly view. Yeah, we just destroyed all of our targets on this one. This one absolutely went to the moon. So where could we get an idea for the next move? If it's going to be more powerful, why not just have some fun on that? Where could this one potentially, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to start with the measuring stick here. So measuring this guy from the low to the high, 2,300% gainer, okay? From the low to the next high, that was a 5,000% gainer. So first one was 2,000%, second one was 5,000. Could we get a 10,000% gainer? Could Mr. Sandbox and the metaverse do a 10,000% gainer? And what would that look like, right? So let's say we do put a low around the 9 at about 316, which on a monthly closing basis, as soon as we get a tick below this guy, I am expecting a move down to 331. That'll be a very nice move. But look how tiny this chart is, but ask how many people made millions of dollars during that rally. And I'm sure there weren't that many, but I know I know a few of them. All right, so what else here? What was I going to say? So 10,000% gainer, you buy the dip. Where would that put us? Is it even on the map is the question. So 10,000% gainer from the 9. 10,000% gainer. Yeah, I mean, that puts this thing easy. 10,000%? Oh my gosh. It's not even going to be on the map. I'm not even going to do it. No, but I really want to see if I can even get it on the map. A 10,000% gainer on this guy, which is trading about 3. So 5,000, yeah. 5,000% gainer puts, wow. That would put Sandbox at $2,500. I don't know if that's possible. Anyways, totally unrealistic, just for fun. Just looking at, we'll follow up on that one in a couple years because that's probably how long it could take for something like that to happen. Okay. Did we cover Pro? I talked about it, but we didn't cover it, right? So look, Pro coin at 244 on the daily. It does have some price history. Any kind of a daily closure, I mean, if we can get, look at this massive thing, right? This massive consolidation. I mean, this thing just came back. I think it came, I'm not sure. We'd have to look it up on CoinMarketCap, but this is the real estate related blockchain. But that wick to that low. And what happened? So as soon as we got a daily closure above the last wick, right, which is coming in right there. And notice a lot of these markets right now we're watching, there's this wick, right? Can we get a wick closing above there? Well, as soon as we did, right? And again, you typically don't want to buy the breakout. You want to buy the dip, right? So here's where it broke out right here. If you bought right there, okay, you still made out. But if you bought the 21 on the dip or the 9, you fared off much better. Here's what I like about this is we're already wicking up there. I mean, these listings can be a real blowout. I mean, you could lose all your money. So, you know, this thing could come all the way back down to 19 cents, and we're at 240, right? So, but risk reward potential, I don't know. Could this thing go back up? Any kind of a daily closure back above here at, I mean, first off, the closing highs, look at those first. So any kind of a closing high above 370 very likely gets you that move to the wick high. So how big of a move is that? From 372 to 489, that's a 30% move. Not bad. Not bad. But what were to happen if we get daily closures or weekly closures? Depends on how, you know, how conservative you want to be. But really good opportunity right here. If this thing debuts on Coinbase and everybody floods the market and this thing really wants to rocket ship and close a daily back above $5, call it, you know, the next target is going to be 732. So risk reward potential. What is the risk reward here? Let's take a look. So we're expecting at least a move to test back to the highs. We already pretty much got that, but how big a move was that? That was a 142% test. Okay, so if we just come back to the highs, it's 142%. If you break the highs and you get to the 1618, right, on a daily closing basis, and you buy, let's say you buy from right here at 250. That's a 200% gainer. And what usually happens, we don't usually sell off there. We don't usually end the rally there. It's just a short-term stop and then a move up to the 2618. So that's it for Pro. If you want to lose all your money, go to a leverage exchange. No, I'm just kidding. Not giving any financial advice. This is just for fun and entertainment. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, we're not financial advisors. If you enjoyed our daily analysis, go ahead and click that subscribe button below and get reminded of all the future videos and the content we put out. We drop a lot of good content about different coins and different TA strategies. Also, if you are interested in learning about incorporating Bitcoin in your IRA, you can click on the link in our description below and get a free ebook. So we look forward to hearing from you. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Signing out.